The hidden costs of a voyage to Lagos. Imagine a modern bulk carrier, the MV Prosperity, fully laden with 60,000 tons of grain, charting its course from a bustling port in Asia. The voyage plan is meticulous, the fuel calculations precise, and the crew well-trained for the long journey ahead. On paper, the estimated time of arrival at the port of Lagos, Nigeria, is set, and the voyage costs are projected to fall within a standard, predictable range. The ship owner anticipates a profitable journey, with minimal delays and straightforward cargo discharge operations. This is the ideal scenario, the one that every ship manager strives for when planning a voyage to any major global port. It's a world governed by schedules, efficiency, and controlled expenses, where the bottom line is protected by experience and careful planning. However, as the MV Prosperity approaches the Nigerian coast, the carefully laid plans begin to unravel. The vessel is instructed to wait at a designated anchorage, joining a long queue of other ships. Days turn into weeks, and the ship idles, burning expensive fuel with no end to the delay in sight. Each day spent waiting adds thousands of dollars to the voyage costs, eroding the projected profit margin. This unplanned waiting time is just the beginning of a series of unforeseen expenses. The ship owner soon learns that navigating the local waters and securing a berth involves more than just standard pilotage towage. A complex web of additional charges, security arrangements, administrative hurdles starts to emerge, transforming a routine voyage into a costly and unpredictable venture. The story of the MV Prosperity is not an isolated incident. It is a common experience for many international vessels calling at Nigerian ports. While the global shipping industry operates on principles of standardization and efficiency, the local context in Nigeria presents a unique set of challenges that significantly impact operating costs. These challenges range from severe port congestion infrastructural limitations to specific security risks that require costly countermeasures. The initial voyage budget, which would have been accurate for a trip to Rotterdam or Singapore, quickly becomes inadequate. The discrepancy between the planned costs and the actual expenses highlights a critical question for ship owners and managers. What does it really cost to operate a ship in Nigeria? This essay aims to answer that very question. We will embark on a detailed exploration of ship management costs, comparing the well-established international benchmarks with the complex realities of the Nigerian maritime environment. By dissecting the various cost components, from crew wages and insurance to the unique local charges and security expenditures, we will provide a clear and comprehensive picture of the financial landscape. Our goal is to move beyond anecdotes and provide a data-driven analysis that reveals not just that it costs more to operate in Nigeria, but precisely where these additional costs arise, why they exist, and what practical steps can be taken to manage them effectively. Section 2. Navigating the Numbers. A Tale of Two Shipping Worlds. The global maritime industry is the lifeblood of international trade. It's a highly competitive sector where even small cost savings can have a significant impact on profitability. Ship managers in major international hubs operate within a stable, transparent cost framework. Singapore, Rotterdam, Dubai. They can reliably predict expenses related to port charges, pilotage, bunkering. Insurance premiums are calculated based on well-understood risk profiles. Maintenance schedules can be planned with precision. This predictability allows for efficient fleet management and competitive freight pricing. Systems in these hubs are designed to minimize vessel turnaround time. They maximize operational efficiency, creating a virtuous cycle of lower costs and higher cargo throughput. In contrast, the Nigerian maritime sector presents a different operational paradigm. It is a vital gateway for trade in West Africa, but it is characterized by local factors that introduce significant cost volatility. Nigeria's uniqueness lies in vast economic potential and persistent operational challenges. Port infrastructure, while improving, often struggles to keep pace with trade volume. leading to congestion, like with our fictional vessel, the MV Prosperity. The security situation in the Gulf of Guinea necessitates additional, often expensive measures. Those measures directly impact insurance and security budgets for every voyage. This essay will be structured to guide you through this complex comparison. We will begin by establishing a baseline, outlining standard cost categories globally. Then we will dive deep into the specific context of Nigeria, official port dues, unofficial expenses. The core of our analysis is a direct side-by-side comparison using real-world data. We'll use typical vessel types to quantify the cost differences. We'll look at sample voyages and break down the numbers to build a clear, proof-first cost story that is informative and eye-opening. Ultimately, we seek to answer three main questions crucial to stakeholders. First, where exactly do the operating costs diverge between Nigeria and international hubs? We will pinpoint the specific line items: pilotage, security, demurrage. Second, why do these differences exist? We'll explore underlying causes, starting with infrastructure gaps, regulatory complexities, security risks. Finally, what can be done? We'll conclude with actionable recommendations for ship owners, managers, charterers, to navigate the Nigerian maritime environment more cost-effectively, helping bridge the gap between local challenges and global standards of efficiency. Table of Contents, Part 2, Act 1, Global Shipping Cost Overview. 1. The anatomy of ship operating costs. Fixed costs, variable costs. 2. Manning and fueling the fleet, the human and energy factors. 3. The price of passage, insurance, port fees, upkeep. Section 1. The anatomy of ship operating costs. Fixed versus variable. To understand the cost differences between operating in Nigeria and other global hubs, we must first establish a clear baseline. Every ship, regardless of where it sails, incurs a standard set of operating costs. These expenses are the fundamental financial building blocks of any voyage. Ship managers typically divide these costs into two main categories: fixed costs and variable costs. Fixed costs, variable costs. Fixed costs are standing costs paid whether the vessel is sailing, waiting at anchor, or laid up. They are incurred daily and are predictable over the long term. Fixed costs keep the vessel operational and ready for service. Crew wages and associated expenses. Insurance, hull and machinery, and P&I. Administrative costs, shore staff salaries, technical support, office overhead. These expenses do not change whether the ship is on a short voyage or a long one. They form the baseline cost of owning and maintaining a seaworthy vessel. On the other side of the ledger are variable costs, voyage costs. These expenses fluctuate with the ship's activity and occur only during a specific voyage. The most significant variable cost is fuel, bunkers, heavy fuel oil, very low sulfur fuel oil, VLSFO, marine gas oil for auxiliary engines, port charges, berths, pilotage, towage, canal transit fees, Suez Canal, Panama Canal, cargo handling costs. These costs are directly tied to the journey and the cargo being transported. Understanding this split is fundamental to managing a ship profitably. Fixed costs are a constant pressure. Variable costs are where operational decisions have immediate financial impact. For example, a captain's decision to sail slightly slower can save substantial fuel. Delays in port, as we saw with the MV Prosperity, directly increase variable costs by burning fuel while idling and adding extra charges. This framework of fixed and variable costs is the lens we'll use to compare operating expenses around the world. Section 2. Manning and fueling the fleet. The human and energy factors. Delving deeper into the components of ship operating costs, we first encounter the two largest and most critical items, crew and fuel. The crew, or manning costs, represent the human element of shipping. These costs are largely fixed and include salaries of the officers and ratings, provisions, food and water, crew travel to and from the vessel, training, and welfare expenses. The total manning cost for a vessel can vary significantly based on the nationality of the crew. A typical bulk carrier might have a crew of around 20 to 25 people. For a 60,000 DWT bulk carrier, annual crewing costs can range from $1.5 million to $2.5 million. Fuel, known in the industry as bunkers, is almost always the largest single variable cost for any voyage. This expense covers fuels for the main engine, heavy fuel oil or very low sulfur fuel oil for the main engine, and marine gas oil for the auxiliary engines that generate electricity. The price of bunkers is notoriously volatile, fluctuating with global oil prices and geopolitical events. A modern bulk carrier can consume between 30 to 40 tons of fuel per day while sailing at a moderate speed. With VLSFO prices often hovering around 600 to 700 per ton, the daily fuel bill can easily exceed $25,000. This makes fuel consumption a primary target for efficiency improvements, such as optimizing routes, practicing slow steaming to reduce overall voyage cost. Let's consider a simple example to illustrate the scale of these costs. For a standard 4,000 TEU container ship, the daily operating expenses are significant. The fixed crewing costs might average around $7,000 per day. When the ship is sailing, it could consume approximately 80 tons of VLSFO per day. At a price of $650 per ton, the daily fuel cost alone would be $52,000. This means that just for crew and fuel, the cost of running the ship while at sea is nearly $60,000 every single day. This figure highlights why any delay at sea has such a dramatic impact on the financial outcome of a voyage, and why waiting for a berth in port is also costly. Every hour that ticks by represents a significant and tangible cost to the ship owner. These two cost centers, crew and fuel, together can account for over 60% of a ship's total operating expenses. While crewing costs are relatively stable and planned on an annual basis, fuel costs introduce a high degree of uncertainty into voyage calculations. Ship managers in major hubs like Rotterdam and Singapore operate where fuel quality is reliable and delivery schedules are predictable. Availability, price, and logistics. As we will see later, the availability, price, and logistics of bunkering can become a more complex and costly affair in different operational contexts, adding another layer to our comparative analysis.